Saturday Night Live is an American comedy institution, churning out some of the most iconic comedians of our time. The long-running show has aired since 1975 and has changed Saturday nights ever since. But since the show is live, there are bound to be some incidents that were definitely not approved. And some of these incidents were so bad the celebrity or musician was banned from the show for life. And today I'm going to be breaking down the top 10 celebrities banned from Saturday Night Live and why they were banned. I'm Mackenzie, you're watching Beyond the Screen, and let's get into it. Starting off at number 10, we have Adrien Brody. Adrien Brody is a well-respected dramatic actor, winning the Oscar in 2002 for the Best Actor in The Pianist, with him kissing presenter Halle Berry on stage. Then on the heels of his new fame, he was asked to host SNL in 2003. And when he was introducing the musical guest, Jamaican singer Sean Paul, he not only made everyone cringe with embarrassment, but he also broke one of the golden rules of live TV. For the introduction, Brody took it upon himself to grab a dreadlock wig and ramble in a problematic Jamaican accent for way too long before handing things off. And even though the Jamaican accent was offensive and he probably should have been banned for just that, the bit wasn't planned and he ended up wasting a lot of valuable airtime, which caused the ban. Brody spoke about the ban with the Huffington Post and said that he might be banned, but he never heard anything official about it. In at number 9, Sinead O'Connor. Sinead O'Connor was asked to perform on SNL in 1990, in the peak of her fame, but she ended up bailing when she realized comedian Andrew Dice Clay was going to be hosting. And although it put a wrinkle in things, they were still able to manage. O'Connor finally performed on SNL in October of 1992, but SNL was probably wishing that she didn't, because O'Connor ended the performance by holding up a picture of Pope John Paul II, ripping it up and stating, quote, "Fight the real enemy," obviously offending millions of people. The show quickly cut after they saw what happened, but the damage was already done and tons of angry calls came in. One audience member tried to assault O'Connor and had to be removed by security. Unsurprisingly, O'Connor never played SNL again. Wonder why? In at number 8, Kanye West. It's no shock that Kanye's banned. Honestly, I'm shocked he's not banned from everything at this point. Before the ban, West appeared on the show 7 times and always managed to bring an incredibly thought-out performance to the show. West is even held in such high regards that SNL producers allowed him in a rare third performance segment in that particular episode. But they were shocked when instead of playing a song, he made an entire speech praising President Trump while wearing one of his mega hats. NBC cut the speech short for viewers, and the outburst was not received well by the live audience members. Not long after, West claimed on Twitter that SNL producer Lorne Michaels had asked him to return to, quote, host before the year is out. But according to Radar Online, Kanye was actually banned instead, and the latter seems a lot more likely to me. In at number 7, David Bowie. In 1997, David Bowie was banned, and from what happened, he totally deserved it. Basically, he was asked to be the musical guest, and he was gonna act in a sketch too, but they made a sketch where Bowie would sing parodies of his own songs. Bowie told Post, quote, "One of the things they came up with was a version of my song, Watch That Man, but instead in the chorus I would sing Try Our Flan." Apparently the writers and Bowie fought over the pronunciation of the word flan though. Flan? I could be messing it up right now. And literally during the broadcast, Bowie said he wasn't gonna do the skit anymore, and he wanted to change the song he was performing. Instead of performing, quote, Telling Lies as rehearsed, Bowie played his 1980 track Scary Monsters and Super Creeps. And the reason is really awful. Apparently Lorne Michaels told Bowie that the song reminded him of a very dark time in his life, and I guess the reason Bowie played it was out of spite. Apparently, as soon as the song was over, Bowie claimed he was escorted from the building and banned from SNL. However, in late 1999, he was back as a musical guest after apparently smoothing things over with Michaels, saying, quote, "We're mates. He knows now that I was just trying to get a rise out of him." And at number 6, Martin Lawrence. Martin Lawrence's monologue on SNL was so bad that a section of it was actually removed from the live broadcast because the network wouldn't let it air. And if you're wondering what kind of stuff is so bad it won't get aired on television, well, his monologue was talking about genital hygiene of intimate areas, specifically of female intimate areas. And the whole thing was just really crass and explicit. When the episode aired later that night for West Coast viewers, NBC cut out the portion of the monologue and replaced it with text explaining the gist of Lawrence's commentary and how, quote, network policy prevents any rebroadcasting of that routine. The rest of the show went on as usual, but Lawrence was obviously banned from the show right after. Halfway number 5, Cypress Hill. The group Cypress Hill was known for a lot of things back in the day. One in particular was their love of smoking weed. And apparently, even though they were told not to touch the substance the night they were on the show, they of course did. Member DJ Muggs said he quote felt like he needed to make a statement with his performance, and that came in the form of him smoking on live TV. And this was back in 1993 when TV was a whole lot different than it is now. Muggs asked Sen Dog to light the joint, but he refused, so Muggs just did it himself. The group claims that the SNL cast came up to them right after and told them how cool they thought the stunt was, but obviously this is live TV people, and the network was not happy, resulting in a lifelong ban from the show. And at number 4, The Replacements. The band The Replacements made fools out of themselves during their performance on SNL, and that was because the band was totally sloshed while performing. Apparently it was a pre-show ritual for them to drink before performing, but SNL has a dry set, so they don't allow alcohol beforehand. Apparently the band got around this by having their sound guy sneak in booze after a pre-show sound check, and by the time they went on, they were hammered. And it was very easy to tell from the footage of the performance. The lead singer wandered away from the mic, the bassist was stumbling, and the guitarist was late to start his solo. So the lead singer actually yelled kind of into the mic, "Come on, effer," to cue him, which was picked up by the mic. And just when it couldn't get any worse, one of the guys ripped their pants at the very end with their rear end out for the world to see. The guys even trashed their hotel room after, that was paid for by SNL. So, I mean, yeah, obviously they were banned after that. That's like 4 strikes against them. In at number 3, Frank Zappa. Frank Zappa was a special type of musician that often infused humor into his music, which made him a great fit for Saturday Night Live, where he was asked to host and be the musical guest in October of 1978. But his performance was so bad, SNL writer and performer Don Novello called it, quote, one of the worst ever. Apparently the final dress rehearsal before the show went so bad that Zappa tried to change his entire approach to the show, but he didn't tell anyone else. And apparently his strategy was to somewhat make fun of the show itself and made the audience aware when things were scripted, with someone from the cast saying, quote, he read the cue cards like he was reading the cards, like he made a point of it. That was his approach to the humor. No one else in the sketches knew it. SNL producer Lorne Michaels did not like the unapproved take on their material and never let him come back. And at number 2, Elvis Costello. Elvis Costello broke one of the major rules of SNL, and that is going against Lorne Michaels. And he paid the price by getting banned. A December 1977 episode featured Elvis Costello as the musical guest, and he played Watching the Detectives in his first slot. Then in his second slot, he started playing Less Than Zero, but then decided to change his mind midway through the song. He told the band to stop playing and told the audience, quote, I'm sorry ladies and gentlemen, there's no reason to do this song here. He then decided to play Radio Radio, which is one song he was told not to play because of how critical of mass media the song is. And because he stopped the show and changed the song, he was banned. However, it wasn't lifelong, and Michaels let him back in 1989. And even joked about getting banned on SNL's 25th anniversary show, so it seems like it all ended well. And finally, number 1, Andy Kaufman. This is a crazy one because Andy got himself banned. So the situation here was that he was put on the show back in 1975 and he managed to gain an audience off of the show. So SNL had him back many times over the years, with him appearing 10 times in the late 70s and early 80s. But one of his bits went south when it had lifelong consequences. Basically, in one skit, he told an SNL producer to read a statement on air in 1982 explaining that Kaufman's scheduled appearance had been canceled because, quote, Andy Kaufman is not funny anymore. Then the viewers were told to decide Andy's fate, with them able to vote on if he would be banned from the show or not. And sadly for Andy, they voted to ban him for life. The self-imposed ban was never lifted, and he never performed again until he passed away in 1984. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Let me know your thoughts below. Who do you think's ban was the most well-deserved? To me, I think there are more than a few people who totally got what was coming to them after they clearly went against the rules. But before I head out, I'm going to shout out some comments from my video on people that tried to warn us about the Baldwins. Sean said, I'm not surprised celebs flip out on the paparazzi. Their job is to provoke them for money. I enjoy the privileges of being average. I completely agree. Paparazzi, when you're probably a little bit famous is maybe fun, but when you're really famous and they're really stalking you, that's when it's obviously, it affects your whole life negatively. Then Brian said, I met Billy Baldwin several years ago. The guy couldn't have been nicer. Really chill and friendly. Oh, wow, thanks for sharing that. Then Acadian Princess said, I met Alec Baldwin. He was so mean. Love the contrast from the last comment to this one. I mean, I believe it. Then Jennifer said if he didn't have an unkind word to say about him, isn't that a compliment? I mean, I feel like if it was a compliment, he would have instead just said something nice, but instead he was like, oh, I don't have anything bad to say about him. It's like, I don't know, I feel like that's when you say when you're just like neutral and maybe don't like someone, it's like he's, you know, faking being nice, like, oh yeah, I don't have anything to say about him, but it's like, I don't know. It's not something I would say if I liked someone. Alright guys, that is all for the video today. Thanks so much for sticking around. If you made it all the way here, if you like the channel and you want to see some more, make sure to like and sub below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith, and I will catch you all in the next one.